So, Erin, how severe were your symptoms prior to any treatment?
I had severe bleeding to the point of a blood transfusion, and I didn't know that I was anemic until I almost passed out one day when I was hiking, and I thought I was just dehydrated, and I came to find out I was dehydrated, but it was because I was so anemic, and blood tests at my general practitioner determined that, and then as soon as I was told I was anemic, I knew that was from the fibroid because I was bleeding so heavily every month. It made sense. And then I had some other symptoms that went along with the bleeding. I had terrible pressure on my bladder, so I had to urinate all the time. And I went to a urologist to determine that as well. He said, your bladder's just not emptying all the way, so you feel like you constantly have to go. And I also had some problems with constipation, and it was just very uncomfortable in the pelvic area in general.
So you ended up undergoing the focused ultrasound procedure. How did you arrive at that decision to make that your form of treatment?
Well, it was actually a long road. I had a hysteroscopy first, and they couldn't treat the fibroid that way. And my gynecologist at the time, the only other real options she gave me were a myomectomy or a hysterectomy. And I'm a very active person, and I also don't have a lot of money, and my job doesn't pay for short-term disability. So I didn't want a long recovery where I couldn't get up and get around and go to the gym and hike and do whatever I want to do. And I also couldn't afford to take the time off work and only get paid half my wages from the state. So I knew I didn't want to do those. And I read, a lot of things about uterine artery embolization, so I considered that as well. But it seemed invasive and scary. And so a friend of mine just happened to email me that she'd heard about the focused ultrasound procedure. So then I looked online to see where it was available, and I found, 2 places in California, and I went to one of them. And they had set me up with an appointment with a radiologist to get an MRI and have a discussion about what he found with the MRI, as well as a gynecologist who then went over, okay, we see that you're a good candidate for the focused ultrasound, but this is uterine artery embolization, this is myomectomy, this is hormone treatment. A lot of different options were given to me and explained thoroughly so that I would know that this wasn't the only treatment. And I was also told, that a lot of comprehensive studies have not yet been done. So I was given all of the information that I felt like I should have been given. And so I felt comfortable when I did finally make my decision that it was right for me, that I had been told everything.
And how has your life been different, the quality of your life, since you've had your procedure?
Well, the first thing I noticed was the pelvic pressure was gone immediately. I absolutely love not having to go to pee every 10 minutes. I can go hiking for a long time and not have to worry about going in the bushes. That's nice. The bleeding was slower to notice the difference in that because that takes longer, I was told, and that was absolutely true. About 3 months after the procedure, my periods started getting a lot shorter. So they went from being 7 to 14 days to being 5 to 7 days, and that was a big difference. And I still have heavy bleeding for the first 2 or 3 days, but it's definitely nothing like it was before. I was changing a tampon every hour, and now I can go 3 hours, so.
Erin, how was the recovery after the focused ultrasound procedure?
It was like I had nothing done. It was nuts. I couldn't believe how fast it was. I came home and I was groggy from the Demerol, but I did not have any cramping. I didn't have any pain. I was back to work the next day, went swimming at the gym the next night. It was the quickest recovery I've ever had from any outpatient procedure outside of maybe a facial. So